Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
Crass.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank y'all so very much for joining us. I don't even fucking know what day it is.
Ha!
It's Tuesday. It literally is Tuesday.
I know. We normally, our recording schedule is all fucked up. We used to get together and hang out and be friends and see each other face to face on Fridays. And now we're doing it remotely, and we're doing it earlier in the week so we can do listener stories. I don't even know where I am. Do you?
You're here with your buddies.
Good.
And your
Perfect.
favorite listeners. We're doing our thing, you know? We'll have a
We're gonna
breakdown
fucking do
after
it.
the show. We're going to have another buddy sesh. Dude, this is all good.
Yep.
Virtual,
Listen.
but wonderful.
I may have said I'll go to jail, but you guys
may
can't
have.
let me. Okay?
Yeah, you totally
guys-
said it.
Defending both mine
Fucking
and
totally
your
said it.
honor, which I felt was incredibly noble of you. I want to thank you for that because I feel the same way you do in this circumstance, but we will prevent that from happening because the kids, they need a dad. They need a pop.
Yeah.
He needs to come home at the end of the day, grab a beer, ruffle up their hair and say, "You scampers, how's your day at school?" And then wink because they're not at school.
That cannot be accomplished from jail. Is that what you're telling me?
That cannot be. No.
No.
Whatever. Hey, you know what? But that's why I got you guys here. That's why I got Rob and Chris here with me to keep me from going to jail. So thank you all so very much for joining us for the Kryptonaut Podcast. Every week I try to change it up, but I just fucking can't because I'm shot. But hellerspace.com, get yourself some t-shirts. We still have the Meals on Wheels t-shirts going. I believe it's like 20 more days or something like that. So be sure to check that out. patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out, $5 is a shout out, and some bonus audio. We're gonna have some shout outs to do. So you know what? Let's just do them. Let's leave the intro with that, and let's just do our shout outs. So Robert, kick us off.
Right on. And as ever, the disclaimer we give every week, if we do it wrong, you get a bonus shout out. So we're just going to do the best we can. And this week we begin with Abraham Wahardo. I think I nailed it, but I'm not sure.
I think you did. I have Dayasaku, and if I fucked that up, Dayasaku, please let me know.
We're going to continue with Ronin Demon X, though the last name might be pronounced Demonics.
You know what's
if
super
that's
dope
the
too?
case, that's fucking awesome too.
And it's all in caps.
Oh yeah,
fucking dude means it.
He is totally a rebel samurai who may or may not be of diabolical origin and unknowable because of the X. It's everything you want. If this was a Marvel character from like the 80s and Chris Claremont was writing it, I would have been in there like swimwear.
Yeah. That's all I can say is, give me more Chris Claremont. God damn it.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. I have Corey Waddell.
Thank you, Corey. And we have next John Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
John Kaiser.
Nice. Robert Thompson.
Oh, our very own Robert Thompson.
No
What's
shit.
happening?
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so very much. I have Zach M.
I think you mispronounced that. I think that's Zachum. I think you got that wrong.
Zachum. Okay, so it's not Zach M.
You think it's
Zachum.
Zach space capital M, but I'm pretty sure it's Zachum. And finally, we have Jay Cordero. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, everyone who signed up for the Patreon. You guys are just the best. And anyone who listens to the show is the fucking best. You guys are the special best. Thank you so fucking much. It really helps. And I hope you guys enjoy the bonus audio and whatever else. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, we actually just recorded a bonus audio. We haven't heard it yet, but we're hoping Chris can pull some magic because I was obviously hammered. Like I have been for the last, I don't know, month and a half to 2 months. I was clearly hammered. And you know, it goes places. That's all I can say.
We take a journey. Our friendship takes a journey. The paranormal aspects are part of the journey. There's a lot of things going on. But you know what? I think the audience is ready to deep dive with us and enjoy the ride. And here's something here. I'm going to see if you guys can hear this. It's not really loud, but this is the sound of Patreon money transformed miraculously into Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So thank you again, friends. It's going to be one of those pods. I hope we're all ready.
Awesome. So they...
Yeah, that's not really magical.
Listen to the pour.
It's not magical. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's Bobby.
That's not really magical.
Oh, it's a lot. Oh,
and you know what I'm drinking it out of? My sister got me one of those mini McDonald's cups from the 70s that just says "Good morning" with a happy sun.
Yeah.
It's like one of these like old school when they still had glass mugs for your morning McDonald's coffee. So that is my tumbler with, of course, a chaser of Jenny. So,
oh boy,
thank you,
right.
Thank you, fine patrons.
All right. Well, yes,
the
patrons
is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your contributions, Christopher. I would like to apologize in advance for the inevitable knife emojis that you're going to be sending me when you edit this, but that's okay.
Oh wait, so you're presupposing that
all right.
due to this bourbon, I'm going to fuck up over and over again, thus causing Chris future grief. I'd like to think you had a little more faith in me, Mark.
Dude, I don't know, man. You usually don't do Boilermakers when we're fucking trying to do a pod.
Seriously.
So I guess we're gonna see how this fucking goes.
With the amount that you poured, we might have a moment of caution here, but nevertheless, thank you all so very much. Let's get started with this week's episode. We are talking about the Lambton Worm.
Old school like an old fool. We're getting into the mythology, friends. We're going, I think, older than we have ever gone before in this podcast.
Oh, God, worms.
Yeah, I think I think we are. So let's get started with, during the Middle Ages, this semi-aquatic serpentine atrocity was said to be responsible for a 7-year reign of terror in Durham, England. But even after this diabolical dragon met its inevitable doom, it created a legacy of horror that affected one family for 9 generations. You can't fucking kill the terror.
A hella curse.
Yeah.
Can't trust worms or orms or wyverns.
Oh, yeah.
Or basilisk, because, they're the fucking worst. Everything on them is poisonous.
Basilisk. Yeah.
Like, this was an era. This story takes us back to the late 1300s, just prime time for humanity. Just everything was going sweet for the human race at this point.
Oh, yeah. Sanitation.
Science was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Hygiene was at its fucking peak. No plagues at all. Nothing like 2020. It was a perfect time to live. But one of the best parts was, just take a glance at any of the bestiaries or catalogs of what is supposed to be the natural fauna of the time, and it is chock full of these monsters, these crazy, the tassel worm, this fucking cat snake dragon thing. They're all throughout Europe and the Middle East and Asia. And so this is one of those great legends hailing from that time. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to separate the wheat from the chaff, because obviously this is allegorical in a lot of ways, but there might be a little something more. So without further ado.
All right.
Long chronicled in the folklore of County Durham, the legend of this anomalous animal with its insatiable appetites seems, on the surface, to be little more than a classic Christian morality play. But there are some who believe that beneath its moralistic veneer may lurk the description of a genuine biological phenomenon. The tale begins in medieval times, when the rebellious and wealthy young heir to Lambton Hall, John Lambton, decided to forego the traditional Sunday Mass in Brugeford Chapel in order to spend his morning fishing in the nearby River Wear.
Oh, a crime most deadly.
Yeah, spitting in the face of your Lord.
Because who doesn't want to skip church and go fishing or do anything else?
Yeah, but like in the 14th century, that's barely not a death sentence.
Yeah, true. I know. That's like heresy. I mean, it might be excommunication almost.
Okay. All right, cool.
Excuse me. I had to have a sip of my delicious bourbon.
Boilermaker number 1 down.
9 minutes
just
in,
gonna
we're fucked.
Make a little count here. All right.
We're fucked. All right.
After hours of patiently waiting for a bite, the young angler glanced up as the church bells finally rang in the distance, indicating the end of the Mass. It just so happened that at precisely the same moment, he was shocked when his hook was suddenly snagged with a force so tremendous it almost ripped the pole from his white-knuckled grip. After a seemingly endless battle with this submerged monstrosity, Lambton finally managed to pull his catch from the frothy mass of dark water. But to his dismay, it was not the gigantic fish he was hoping for. Instead, Lambton watched in abject horror as a relatively small, glistening black, eel-like creature writhed on the rocky shore before him.
Ooh.
Lambton, yeah, I know, grubby. Lambton would later describe the beast as having a head reminiscent of a salamander, complete with needle-sharp teeth and 9 strange holes running along either side of its mouth. The animal was also secreting a viscous, sticky fluid from its inky epidermis, not unlike some sort of monstrous mud puppy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It sounds like a fucking mud puppy.
Very much. Just as the repulsed Lambton was about to return his quarry to the river from whence it came, he was stopped by an elderly passerby who requested to see the creature. The wizened old man was amazed by the sight before him and, according to legend, blessed himself with the sign of the cross before admonishing the boy for neglecting to attend church.
Well, here it comes.
Yep, there when the old man.
Is how it starts.
It starts with the lecture. It ends with a curse.
Shit,
Here comes the butt touch.
Yeah, there you go. You're going to definitely get touched.
The old man claimed that the writhing worm-like amphibian was evil incarnate and warned the boy not to release the beast back into the river, stating that great misfortune would befall him if his advice were not heeded. The young nobleman must have taken the old man's warning to heart, for instead of releasing the viscous vermin, he cautiously, one assumes, packed the squirming serpentine thing into his catch basket and made for Lambton Hall.
Oh, he made a pat. He has a pat.
Yeah, he's got a curse.
I wouldn't say that.
Way to go.
Well, for some reason, I think the old guy is like being kind of chatty. He's just like giving out advice, like, it's a curse. Like, fucking, who are you, dude?
Or maybe it's like an angel in disguise. A man that's like, you should have gone to church.
Whatever, dude. They should name Michael Landon, dog. Hey, Michael Landon. I don't want to hear about it. Fuck that. Some nosy ass dude fucking we were trying to fish. Get out of here.
Wow. You do not like people in your fishing business. I like that about you.
I'm a little aggressive. Sorry.
It's fine. On his way home, Lambton passed a deep and ancient well, which some claim was located on Penshaw Hill, while others insist it was a place now known as, well, conveniently enough, Worm Hill, located in Fatfield. I love Fatfield.
Wow.
Fatfield, yeah. Either way, the boy recognized that the long unused shaft would serve as the perfect tomb for his cursed quarry, and he deposited the biting beast into what would forever after be referred to as Worm's Well by the locals native to the region.
You don't ever toss a fucking curse into a well.
Well,
this is like
you don't take a curse home.
101.
What are you going to do? Now, in defense of John Lambton, all right, maybe he might have fucked up not going to church at a time when it was obviously not in his best interest not to do that. Even though he's a rich kid, even though he owns all the lands and properties and, has all his lords and vassals, he still should have fucking shown up and done his fucking duty to the Lord. Fine.
I don't know, man. He's just trying to fish. Just trying to fish doesn't mean you gotta be fucked with a curse. And if you do get fucked with a curse, I don't know, don't toss it in a well. But you know what? Maybe
having been said,
I could be jumping the gun here.
If he throws it back into the river, old man misfortune says the shit's gonna fucking fall apart. He can't bring that motherfucker home, put it in an aquarium. So what better than an unused deep shaft that leads to fucking nothing but, whatever little liquid and shit is at the bottom. I think he actually made a pretty sage decision.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree.
What would you have done with it?
I would have killed it. I'm in a bad mood, sorry. I'm just going to kill the curse.
I mean, all right, you got something there. I didn't think about
no,
that.
I don't. No. I actually, you know what? Let's continue and see what's going to happen.
Maybe it was too evil to die. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, evil never dies, so.
That's true.
Yeah, evil never dies. All right, you and Chris are correct.
Come on.
I stand corrected. Robert, continue.
As the years passed, folktales began to spring up about the scourged well. Its waters were said to have become poisoned, and noxious fumes rose up from its depths. As if that weren't bad enough, according to those few brave souls who dared to approach this crumbling stone edifice, there was something sinewy, toothy, and very much alive in the moist blackness of the well.
See, man, you made evil worse.
Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
Okay. There you go.
By this point, young Lambton had grown into manhood, and like so many of his brethren, he had hastened off to the Holy Land in order to fight in the Crusades. According to some scholars, this was likely the Barbary Crusade of 1390, which led to the siege of Mahdia. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm going to trust the scholars.
I mean, yeah, totally.
But as John Lambton was attempting to atone for the sins of his misspent youth by pummeling infidels into submission,
yeah,
I mean, what else are you going to do? The infernal fiend that he had pulled from the churning depths of the River Weir was starting to grow to the point where it could now leave the confines of its antediluvian prison, much to the horror of the local villagers.
Oh, dude, it grew up.
It grew up. Evil grows up. We all do. It's part of the cycle.
Yeah, it grows up and never dies. And then you're stuck with it forever. Good luck.
Oh, it's great.
Eyewitness descriptions from the time describe the Lambton Worm as being a huge, legless, and wingless dragon with razor-sharp teeth. Some observers claimed that one could clearly see defined musculature beneath the animal's rippling, ooze-covered ebony epidermis. Ugh. So that paints a real specific picture, and I know we're going to get into this more later, but I mean, the first instinct a lot of people had is snake, because legless, even though that might be very tiny, like Manda-like legs. I mean, Manda, obviously being the kaiju from Toho for,
right.
Those who don't know are like a little luck dragon legs, but its sliminess absolutely errs on the side of something amphibious. But anyway, it's black, it's muscular, it's got super sharp teeth, weird holes down the side of its head, but they still consider it a dragon, I assume, based on its size and disposition.
So in my mind, I'm getting a picture of like Phase 1 Shin Godzilla. When it was
all undulating and Google-eyed. Yeah,
and sucky looking. Yeah.
I think it's fair in the sense that I think it was probably, if it moved, it probably had this like icky sort of rippling kind of, undulation. Again, not to abuse the word, gross. It was probably pretty grubby. Right, this description has led some researchers to associate this creature with other worm-like dragons alleged to hail from medieval Europe, such as the notorious Lindworm, which were said to haunt the wilds of Norway, Denmark, and Germany, as well as the similar, though smaller and decidedly more feline-like Tatzelworm, which reportedly hailed from the Alps. According to legend, once this now massive animal finally managed to escape the stony cage of the well, it slithered down the hill to its river home. After it returned to running water, nothing more was heard from the beast. That was until it got hungry. Reports which have been passed on from this period state that the region was seized by a tsunami of horror as the creature went on a blood-soaked feeding frenzy, which not only claimed numerous cows and sheep as victims, but also more than a few local children. Oh. It was the babies. Keep them at home, man. Lock them up. I know it's the fucking 1390s, but come on, keep it real, folks.
If there was ever a time to lock your kids up, it's the fucking 1390s. For Christ's sakes, don't even let them outside.
Yeah,
fuck.
Never out of your sight.
The sun doesn't exist to stay inside. The fuck.
It was then that the locals found that the people and animals it didn't eat had perished from apparent envenomation. So while it's not, it's a predator in the sense that it's eating meat and other things, as we'll get to in a second, but it's also a thrill killer, or a surplus killer, I think it's officially called, because sometimes it just likes to poison shit and let it die because it's a dick.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oddly, farmers discovered that the worm had a particular fondness for fresh cow's milk and would silently slither through the grassy fields beneath its bovine prey before suddenly lunging upwards and using its dagger-like fangs to pierce the udders of its victims in order to drain them of their precious life-giving fluid before rending the balance of their flesh with its terrible teeth. So rip the udder, drink the milk, eat the cow.
Wow, it gets a big old glass of milk first, and then it fucking devours
blood milk. It's like it's like that Lucio Fulci Gates of Hell, when the blood's dripping through the ceiling and landing in that milk, and you just get that grubby gut sick feeling. It's like that, but with a monster.
Is Blood Milk a song? It's gotta be.
It should
Morbid
be.
Angel, dude. Morbid Angel must have written Blood Milk. There's no way they didn't.
I'm
If
sure
they didn't,
someone
I'm gonna be
did.
really upset.
It feels like it ought to be. Norway, we're looking at you.
Yeah, really.
Natives soon decided that the wholesale slaughter of their livestock could no longer be tolerated, and a cadre of brave villagers assembled to stop this rampage. Armed with makeshift weapons, this intrepid group marched off toward the river to end this nightmarish beast's rampage once and for all.
Yeah, we got a good old 1300s posse with some fucking weaponry.
Pitchforks, hose, scythes.
Maces.
That's all they had.
Mace. A fucking, what's that called? Helsing thing? That big long spear looking fucking thing? Fuck yeah, do some scythes, some katanas.
Yeah, no,
there was no katanas.
Yeah, wrong.
Probably no morning stars or maces.
Yeah, morning stars.
They probably just had farming tools that were repurposed and some torches. You always need it's a 1390 mop. You need a torch.
Somebody made a mace or had a mace. Come on.
Well, they had cudgels, certainly, because that's just
perfect.
Heavy sticks.
Nice. All right, let's fucking kill this fucker.
End the rampage once and for all. Hours passed with no sign of the men. Wives and children huddled together, straining to hear the distant sounds of their husbands and fathers returning with the head of the worm on a pike, flush with the joyful cries of a hard-won victory. But only silence greeted them. The following day, a second expedition was mounted. These men returned ashen-faced and panic-stricken. They had found the corpses of their comrades littered across the banks of the river. Some had drowned, others had been crushed, still others had been literally torn apart. They were fucked. This did not work well.
No, man. When the first party fucks it so hard, you got to send a second party. You do not want to be a part of the second party. I dare say you're better off being a part of the first party because you got some excitement, you got some bravado. You're like, we're going to fucking do it. And then you die a hero. The second party, you got to find all your buddies all fucked up.
But the second party, Mark, and I can't emphasize this enough, got to live. Ergo, you really probably want to be part of the second party. Not the machismo, dude. Let's do this again. Bloody death.
You got to think of the time. Chris and I understand the time period. I will you got to die in the fucking dawn of battle, dude.
All right, Chris, do you want to die in the first posse or be slightly traumatized in the second or severely traumatized in the second posse?
He's going to want to die in the
Don't speak for Chris. Chris speaks for Chris, sir.
Yeah, so I don't want to die either way, but they
am I the only one that wants to die glorious in battle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, thank God I got you guys to tell my story.
You want to die to a big giant mud puppy? Great.
You gotta go down fighting, dude.
Yeah, flip the vet, fucking mud puppy carnage.
Flip
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Who cares, man? Dead's dead.
Or in this case, just flip the wagon.
Yeah, flip the wagon.
Yeah,
drown in the hay. Wagon.
Flip the plow.
All right. Well, you know what?
God.
Flip the plow. I mean, regardless.
Blood on the scarecrow. Blood on the plow.
Yep.
Is
that a fucking sweet metal song?
I think it's a
it's John Cougar Mellencamp.
Blood on the plow.
But it's not blood on everything. It's like
it's not a complete massacre.
Blood on the plow. Blood on the scarecrow.
All right. Well, the second party went out.
We are going to continue here.
All right.
As in classic tales of yore, the occasional wandering knight would make his way through the region and try to build his reputation by conquering the now nefarious beast. But they all met with brutal ends. Legend even had it that when chunks of flesh were cut from the thing, they reattached themselves in a decidedly supernatural fashion. Or perhaps these were merely a fanciful recollection of a creature with an amazing capacity for healing. I know I'm playing like Monday morning quarterback with that one, but the idea of the hunks of flesh get cut off and then it reattaches like some fucking Hong Kong ghost.
So it's not Venom? It's not Venom, Robert. Really?
Well, it looks like it. It's oozy black and nasty with lots of sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Holes
it could be a T2000 or whatever.
Yeah,
or T1000.
Oh, could be. I mean, I guess we're both going cinematic here. I'm going comic book symbiote, but you're going fucking T. Okay, all right, fine. We have a theory. Well thought out.
Is that what
theory.
you're calling it now?
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right.
It's that dude from Filter's brother, or it's fucking Venom. Take your pick. One of the two.
My God. It was decided then that nothing could be done to overcome this voracious varmint, and John's father, a man whose name may have been Robert, and I know that because I really did a deep dive into the genealogy of this family, and a guy named Robert around this time had a son named John around this time, so I'm sort of pissing in the wind, but it's based loosely on an effort on my part.
Okay.
It's the 1300s, man. Anything's possible.
But
whatever,
regardless,
John, Tom, don't matter.
The father, being the current Lord of Lambton, had a huge stone trough built outside the hall, which the villagers used to slake the beast's near insatiable hunger with daily tributes of at least 20 gallons of warm milk. So every day the trough gets filled. You gotta fucking milk your cow unless you want its udder sheared off. And feed the beast.
All right.
All profits
Gross.
the Lambtons made were reinvested in fortifying battlements and satiating the toothy terror. But even with the daily offerings, it was still prone to bouts of aggression and was known to uproot small trees with its muscular tail and wield the trunks like a cudgel, battering all who came near it. Worse yet, I know.
This is cartoonish. I picture.
I know. Well, that's the thing. This is 1390s. This is a
this thing uses
allegorical story.
Now?
It is a fine line between what may have happened and what is obviously embellished.
I can't wait to see what happened. What it's going to do next.
It's beating fuckers up with a sweet tail hammer.
All right, Robert, can continue.
I shall. Thank you. Worse yet, the sinister and evidently perpetually growing serpent was now large enough to wrap itself around the hill that had once incarcerated it no less than 7 times. Now, that's an odd sentence. It hadn't been incarcerated 7 times. It was long enough to wrap around said hill 7 times.
Yeah, I got it.
How big is this hill?
See, I don't know. We're not
talking
getting,
about. I mean,
like the hill where the well was.
Even if it's a tiny hill, like even if the fucking circumference of the hill was 30 feet, 7 times is too much. But if it was like a solid fucking hill, that's just nuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless it was a tiny little hill, like a little bump with a well on it, and so it wrapped around. You know, and it was like 3 feet by 5.
If you had like a sweet dino, it'd be like a cool little jump. So the thing's only like
bump.
20 feet.
like a dirt bike ramp you build in the back lots or something. Yeah,
totally. All right, so this thing's wrapping around the hill 7 times.
7 times.
Cool.
When John Lambton, the hero and yet the villain of this story, if we recall. When John Lambton finally returned home from the Crusades, he was mortified to discover the terror which had gripped his native soil and the state of decrepitude that infested his soon-to-be inherited property. Justifiably, the Christian warrior felt responsible for the entire situation.
No, now he's fucking all of a sudden.
Should have just gone to church. You're 12. Why are you pulling this Tom Sawyer bullshit? He doesn't even exist.
See?
A, he doesn't exist really, but B, he's not even a fucking figment in Mark Twain's mind for centuries. Why you gotta fuck around? Just worship the Lord, you son of a bitch.
No, he fucked up.
Right. Not sure what to do, Lambton sought out the lair of a reputed witch.
Oh, fuck.
That's the first thing. It's 1390. What's he going to do? Where else is he going to get advice?
It's been 10 long years.
It just smelled the witch.
Oh, boy.
Greatest lyrics ever.
Fucking Mortis rules. Or not.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah, he does something. But he definitely wrote one of the most memorable lines in music history. That's irrefutable.
That is.
So he finds this witch, and you'd have to imagine, I can't how it's like Perseus and the 3 sisters. It's got to be this like shithole cave covered in roots, you know, reeking of carcass shit and boiling cauldrons. I mean, I want it, and I'm not, listen, I'm not throwing any of our Wiccan brethren under the thing. I just want this to be, no. I want this to be cinematic. Like, I know it's not probably that way. The witches of that time were by and large healers, helpful, people that knew how to use herbs. I realize they were unjustly persecuted. I realize it's horrible, but allow me to be cinematic in the sense that, like something out of fucking Ridley Scott's Legend, where everything is just overgrown and dank and horrifying. She's not evil, though, by the way. This witch is not evil.
All right. It could just be some super cool chick in the woods being cool. Being like, hey, what's up?
I
agree.
Here you go. Yeah. Same.
But it's probably not.
Yeah, it could be that
the
weird.
Story's definitely, I don't think it's probably.
The story is going towards some weird like swamp hag, but just saying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, cinematically, the crone is more effective.
Yeah.
But if she was like a ravishing beauty, living in the glade, that would also work in its own way. But then John Lambton would get smitten and the story would go in a different direction.
Yeah, I know. All right.
He sought out the lair of the reputed witch and implored her for advice as to how to rid his ancestral lands of this leech-like leviathan. The occultist heard his pleas and acquiesced to his request. And this is awesome. She told the nobleman to have the local blacksmith forge him a unique suit of armor, one which was to be covered with double-edged spikes or spearheads. So basically, cut the head off 100 spears and weld them to the suit of armor.
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Continue. Oh my God. This is the best thing I've heard all week.
The witch, having given the war-weary Lambton the key to vanquishing his foe, then warned him that after the worm was slain, he must then kill the first living thing he laid eyes on, lest his family be cursed with untimely deaths. For anyone want to guess how many generations?
How many generations, Rob?
It's 9. It's a pop quiz. I gave it to you earlier in this text.
Oh, yes. You did? Shit, yes. I don't pay attention. 9 full
generations.
Okay.
I'm super hung up on the armor. The armor sounds fucking
No, the armor
killer.
is, and you know what? This is where I see it like John Boorman's Excalibur. This is a movie that I know Chris loves. I know I love. It is perhaps just the grittiest, darkest, dirtiest medieval version, not only of the Arthurian legend, which is a great way of capturing it. First off, Merlin with that silver skull cap is one of the most tits up piece of costuming that have ever happened.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
It's just the best. And then it's got what's his like half son, half nephew, Mordred. Oh, that golden armor he has.
Yeah.
And Helen Mirren plays his fucking half-sister. Anyway, it is a brutal, violent, muddy, nasty, brilliant retelling of the Arthurian legend. And this is how I see this armor. Like if someone was to make the movie of the Lambton Worm and make it like authentic to the legend, I would want John Boorman circa 1980, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But I digress. It's a fucking awesome piece of armor.
I just want to wear this in Skyrim. That's all I want to do.
Maybe you can make it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe someone could mod this out for me, and then I can go visit my 10 houses with my fucking kids and wife and fucking run around and doing potions and shit. Because I'm playing it for too long. So, all right. So now he has to kill the first thing he lays eyes on that's alive. So now
lest the family be cursed with untimely deaths for exactly 9 generations.
All right.
Lambton said he understood and undertook to follow the enchantress's instructions. The armor was made to the witch's exact specifications, and in preparation for his coming battle with the beast, Lambton informed his father that, if victorious, he would sound his hunting horn 3 times to indicate that the monster was dead, at which point the elder Lambton was charged with releasing his son's favorite hound so that he might kill it and avert the 9-generation curse. As to why John wanted to kill his favorite hound rather than, say, his least favorite pig, or even a random castle rat, is anyone's guess. I don't know. My favorite beloved puppy. Father, send him to me.
Why would you kill the fucking dog?
I just don't know.
Christ.
She didn't say the first thing you love. If the witch said, kill the first thing you see that you love that's alive, then you're like, well, fuck, I'd rather kill a dog than my little sister. That makes sense.
Well, don't kill the dog. I mean,
I'm just saying, if you have to love it to avoid 9 generations of curse, then fine.
Kill the dog.
But if you only have to kill a living thing, then the fuck? You have a parakeet on the hill in case you get lucky and kill the worm, then just go up and, no offense to parakeets. I'm just saying whatever.
Yeah, it could be anything. What if there's just like flick an ant?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Exactly. Totally. A potato bug. A fucking whatever. A spider.
A cow. I mean, you can just kill a cow and eat it and feed your family and be like, it's dead. Oh, I saw it. Like, whatever.
We have a lot of things that could happen that didn't require killing your favorite pup, but
release my favorite dog that I've fucking have raised since it was a puppy.
Whatever his reasoning may have been, John's father agreed to the stipulation. Fully protected in his spike-smothered armor, Lambton cautiously approached the River Weir, the unholy lair of the Great Worm. As he neared the shoreline, the savage snake-like monster, which had been laying in wait, sprung out of the murky waters directly at him. As it enveloped its undulating coils around John Lambton's armored form, shreds of its ebony flesh were sliced off by the spearheads. The enraged creature continued its suicidal onslaught until it had weakened itself so much that the young crusader was finally able to dispatch the creature with a single lethal blow of his gleaming sword.
Nice.
Jubilant and perhaps a bit disgusted, the triumphant Lambton sloughed off the hunks of viscous carcass that clung to his spikes in fleshy, slug-like strips. Because you got to imagine, this thing is just hanging all over him. It had to feel like shit. You need to shower so bad, dude.
He got slimed, basically.
Oh, big time. And you can only... How does this thing smell? It's living on fucking rancid hot milk and flesh. And carnivore poop is horrible. So, whatever's in its bowels is a shit show, literally and figuratively. He then liberated his hunting horn, brought it to his lips, and emitted 3 great gasps. Upon hearing the horn blasts, John's father became so excited that he forgot to release the agreed-upon canine and rushed down to the riverside to see the worm's carcass for himself.
The fucking.
Much to the youthful warrior's dismay, it was not his beloved dog that he first laid eyes on the bloody shores of the River Weir, but his breathless, idiot father.
Yeah. Well, guess what you gotta do, buddy? Guess what you gotta do.
It's not known how close John Lambton came to delivering the blow that would finally end the horrible curse of the Lambton Worm. But in the end, he found himself incapable of killing his own father, despite the fact that he was a dumb piece of shit who ruined everything by neglecting to follow even the simplest of fucking instructions. Send the fucking dog, Dad. The dog.
Real quick, I want to have a little peek behind the curtain here. You actually wrote, despite the fact that he was a dumb piece of shit.
No, I was so mad when I was writing this again. I'm like, you fucking son of a bitch.
I know. How do you forget? You just made the plan. You just made the plan.
Like a day before. It's like the biggest event ever. For 7 years, this fuck-all has been eating all your cow's udders, and you have to pour milk in the trough, and it's a nightmare. And all you have to do is send fucking Puppinkins, or whatever the fuck this dog was called.
I'm sure it was
like, I want to see. You fucking moron.
He's probably literally looking at the dog, thinking to himself, like, I don't want to fucking kill this poor thing. And then the horn goes off. He's like, I got to see. Totally forgetting the dog. And the dog's probably like, thank God. I'm out of here. Fuck these guys. These guys suck. They're going to kill me. All right. So.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's do it.
Lambton resigned himself to the witch's curse, which his family would allegedly suffer the brunt of for at least 3 generations, and the 9th. So we'll get to this in a second, but the next 3 generations die pretty horribly. It seems like there's some old deaths after that, like natural lifespans, but then the 9th generation gets fucked again, so maybe it was just irony. Who knows how it works? But at least 3. Helping lead to the enduring popularity of this legend, that is, the actual deaths made this legend live on. But even though the curse lived on, the story of the worm itself, as well as its bovine-centric reign of terror, ends there. For many, the lore of the Lambton Worm is nothing more than a parable which was used to warn children not to miss church and to remind adults that debts, no matter how deeply buried in the past, must always be paid. But some investigators have pointed out that while obvious and oftentimes extreme embellishments were employed in the retelling of this allegory, the animal itself may be more than a mere metaphor. It seems as if the myriad details used in the portrayal of the worm would be superfluous if it was simply serving as a generic dragon-like villain in a morality play. The rippling musculature, the apparently mucus-covered epidermis, the snake or salamander-like head, and the odd holes running along its sides, 9 perhaps representing each generation to be cursed. I know I'm trying to be biological, but
shit.
Spooky.
That's not.
Each curse gets a hole.
Each curse gets a hole. Everybody gets a hole. Hey, you cursed, get a hole.
You get a hole. I get a hole. Chris
All
gets a
seem
hole.
to indicate a real creature
Christ.
and not a fantastical beast. At least according to some, I'm inclined to think that there might be something there. On an interesting pop culture note, in 1911, Bram Stoker penned The Lair of the White Worm, which was inspired by the legend of the Lambton Worm and was eventually adapted into a film in 1988 by Ken Russell. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. It is a piece of shit. It's a horrible fucking movie. There is a giant white worm, and it's got who's Old Man Who? The one right before the current one.
Old Man Who?
Capaldi?
Peter Capaldi?
Peter Capaldi.
Oh,
he was in it when he was young. I think it had Hugh Grant.
Cool.
It had, a bunch of motherfuckers you'd know. It's just, I don't know. It's just not a great film.
Maybe I didn't.
But
okay.
Anyway, it was inspired. In 1867, C.M. Lumain turned the story into a song, and in 1978, composer Robert Sherlaw Johnson wrote an opera, a 2-part opera, I might add, called The Lambton Worm. So it's had an enduring effect.
Clearly.
I want to see Chris's version of the Lambton Worm.
The 2-part opera of the Lambton Worm. Yeah, so would I.
Dude.
I'm gonna fuck you and make you kill your dad. Oh no, he fucked up. There's no dog. Now you all died. Now you all die.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Part
Well,
2 done.
Chris, you found your lyricist.
Wow.
Yeah,
perfect.
there you go.
Done and done.
Music by Chris.
If Chris knows one thing about me, I can't write lyrics to save my fucking ass. So,
Well, you're not showing it now, sir.
Well,
you're shining right now. All right.
edgy Lambton Worm lyrics by Mark Story.
Last sentence.
I'm about to break.
Whatever this creature may have been, its legend endures as both a Christian parable, a cultural touchstone, and an intriguing enigma for all enterprising folklorists and cryptozoologists. And there, my friends, is the tale in a nutshell of the Lambton Worm. What I find interesting
I mean, yeah.
about this more than anything else is that obviously, wrap the hill 7 times, grabbing trees and using it as a fucking Mjolnir, fucking doing all sorts. Obviously, so much of this is, medieval embellishment. And a lot of it, of course, ties into the whole idea of, don't ignore Mother Church or Father Church. Obviously, mothers aren't important in the church hierarchy. Not to be too indicting, but, it's just the way it is. But when you dig past all of that, it's interesting to think what kind of biological or perhaps even paranormal entity might be represented in this story, hidden beneath the layers of mythology.
Okay.
Skeptics have speculated that the Lambton Worm, if it existed at all, might have been a large snake. That doesn't really rub with me because it wasn't really described as scaly. I mean, not having limbs or whatever, which they say might have been transplanted to the British Isles by a sailor from a trading ship or even a returning crusader.
Those sailors and their bag of snakes, dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
They come into port and
Yeah,
I got a bag of snakes here. And they got fucking all kinds of snakes and shit.
But again, based on this description,
big ass fucking snakes, dude.
That's what they
Shit's
said.
crazy. Yeah.
This thing isn't reptilian. It seems much more akin to like a Japanese or even Chinese giant salamander.
Those or even terrifying.
The North American hellbender, which I have all my life desperately wanted to bump into and never actually had the opportunity. But it really smacks of at least the thing that was initially caught by Kid Lambton, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Which is his rap name, Kid Lambton. Fucking
Lil
this
Lambton.
thing really smacks
Lil
of like
Lambton.
Lil Lambton is a hellbender or something. But what it goes into is something else.
Fucking that's the problem. Then it becomes problematic.
And
that's where it takes a turn. Yeah.
Another fact that just needs to be noted, and that is there was no until the late 1500s, early 1600s, there was no real contact between the British and Japanese or the Chinese. So the thought of something, being transferred over, like if somebody had like taken a prize of one of these giant salamanders and brought it back and somehow gets released into the stream and maybe only lives long enough to be there one warm summer.
Right.
You could, a skeptical mind, I mean, and I don't mean that in a debunking way. I mean, like a truly logical mind could say, yeah, there's a possibility that that's what this is, because obviously this is not like any amphibian that is indigenous to the British Isles at all. I went through lists of them. I mean, you got common frogs, you got some newts, you got some really cool fucking things. Nothing that gets maybe much over 6 inches, and certainly nothing like this. But it really couldn't have been one of these large creatures from either North America or Asia, because there wasn't any contact in 1390. Right. The only other thing that I came across that it might be, just getting the skeptical shit out of the way, is the black desert cobra, which is endemic to the Middle East and, can be found throughout the region. Now, maybe a crusader found something like that, but the problem with this is it never gets more than 6 feet long. It's highly, highly venomous. So why the fuck would you grab one and it would probably kill you? And it doesn't live in the water. It's not fucking slimy, and it would not be able to survive in the cool British climate once it became unseasonable. So really almost anything biological is very difficult to hang the guilty on, this is clearly this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you do get that fucking cobra home from the fucking Crusades, we just gonna fucking, what are you gonna put in a sack and carry it with you while it's
cobra?
Cobra bite you, fucking ta 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 ta.
Is that the sound of a cobra bite?
Yeah.
You actually,
you guys remember?
I remember
sounded
that
like
Ricky
Cobra
Tikki
Commander.
Tavi. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So, all right.
For those keeping count, second Boilermaker.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's number 2?
Yeah, I think you snuck a couple in there.
You did.
What?
Come on.
You did.
Oh, listen to that. Listen to that sound of alcoholism right there. Oh,
that is not, that's Irish pride.
Actually, I say alcoholism as I'm on beer number 4 and we're only not even an hour.
Oh my God, God bless
you. All right, man. So I guess there's a couple of things that we can kind of, tackle here. So obviously we've discussed the skeptical angle a little bit here. So it could be a parable. It could be a fucking go to church. It
is a parable.
Catch a curse.
It is allegorical. The bulk of this story is completely a morality play.
But hear me out, dude. Fucking dudes, hear me out. All right, man. What if this shit was real? What if for some reason dude skipped church, caught this curse, fucking super nosy Michael Landon fucking dude's like, oh, don't fucking take it home. It's going to do whatever. He fucking puts it in the well and he just creates this giant fucking problem that then he can't fucking kill, apparently, because he finally gets to it and his dad fucks it up. I mean, all right, it's a stretch, but
so
who knows?
The thing about that, though, is like that only the old guy said that the thing was the curse. The actual curse came from the witch.
And it might not be the witch's curse. I know exactly what you're saying there, Chris. She might have just
that's how it reads.
No, I know, right. And that's how I read it. So I will take full responsibility. It could be the witch's curse, or it could be the witch explaining the worm's curse. Do you know what I'm saying?
It could be.
It might not be the witch saying that you are going to be cursed if you don't do this. It might be saying this is the kind of curse that's associated with this animal. If you don't kill the first thing that's alive, you're fucked. I'm just saying, not to absolve the witch, but it might not have been her curse straight up.
What if it's 2 curses? A curse on top of a curse, a double curse.
Huh? Oh, that's interesting. So
yeah,
Michael Landon curse, fucking old crone, hot enchantress / whatever you want to imagine curse.
The super cool chick in the woods, just like, sorry, dude, but I gotta make this armor.
The super cool chick in the woods versus Michael Landon.
Exactly, dude. I got my money on the super cool chick. You know why? Because she's a super cool chick. There you go.
Well, plus her specs for armor are fucking tits up, like the most
she obviously
magnificent thing ever.
Some bomb ass armor.
It's more metal than metal. It's like 3 Man of Wars metal. I mean, it is fucking hard,
dude.
Yeah,
I brought it up. Couple Man of Wars. I brought it up, man. The fucking dawn of battle. I will fight. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe this shit really did happen. Probably not. If we're talking about a parable here, if we're just discussing some sort of fucking learned lesson that you have to fucking go through. I mean, it cursed these people apparently for 9 generations, and there was evidence, I'm assuming, of said curse, or
all right. Let me just walk us through this. It won't take long at all. First generation following John. Robert Lambton drowned in Newrig.
Bummer.
Second generation. Sir William Lambton, a colonel of foot. I don't know what a colonel of foot is, but that's what he was.
Fucking Perfect. Foot Clan, dude.
I was Major Elbow. You never know.
Yeah, dude.
He was killed at Marston Moor. Third generation, another William Lambton, died in the battle at Wakefield. Now, we don't have anything for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but ninth generation, Henry Lambton, died in his carriage crossing Lambton Bridge on June 26th, 1761. So those are the official untimely deaths.
Hammered.
Yeah, so 4 out of 9 ain't bad, to quote Meatloaf-ish.
Because 4 out of 9 ain't bad. I need you. I want you.
A Robert, a William,
I'm
a Henry.
Never gonna love you.
There ain't no way I'm never gonna curse you.
Oh, god damn it. That's fucking the best thing ever. 4 out of 9 ain't man. Whatever. Give it to me. God damn it.
It could have been
it's yours.
It's mine.
It's yours, dude. You got it. Fucking take it.
I am the fucking out of the pod here. I am the fucking Super Meatloaf fan. So fucking there you go.
Yeah, you are.
One Facts and science.
So I mean, all right, but I gotta say, curse wise for the family, I was thinking like everybody died all fucked up, not just random dudes. You know?
Oh, could you imagine if every fucking member
I assume, yeah.
Well,
why
then how do you have 9
weird?
generations? Because that first generation, everyone would have died.
Oh, but
Ergo,
they have
you
the
don't
kids.
have the next generation.
Yeah, nah, man. But okay, so they live long enough to have the kids, and then they die a weird death, and then the kids grow up like, oh, my fucking parents are dead, like fucking Bruce Wayne. And then all of a sudden, boom, they have kids, and then bang, they fucking die, and then it's just back and forth. Like if that was
would
some
be
shit,
an insidious curse. That would be horrible.
It would be, but I mean, it sounds like these people just died of like things that happen of the time.
Yeah, like you're a soldier.
Well, yeah.
And you died in a battle.
Yeah, or you're fucking hammered on a fucking horse going over in a cart going over a fucking bridge and you crash it. Like fucking, I don't know,
flip
man.
the cart, as Chris said.
I would totally, dude. If this was 1309, that's how I would die. Would be flipping a cart.
Absolutely.
Into a fucking ravine. And then be like, Mark was cursed. They'd be like, no, I was just hammered.
And just like a bad early 80s TV show, it would explode in flames without anything flammable around it. You'd flip into a creek, do one roll, explode. The hay would be everywhere in flame.
Dude, just my hand out of the water, like reaching for someone, and I'm like, no one's there. Oh no! And then I'm fucking dead.
Oh God!
All right, that was so. That made me a little sad.
No, dude, that's how I fucking go out hard as fuck. Is fucking reaching like, no one's there.
Oh my god, 1390 Mark is dark as fuck.
Dude.
Wow.
All right, Christopher, what do you think? I need some fucking. Someone's got to ground me on this. I'm just going off on fucking dragons.
I am going to say this. Let's focus. Right. I mean, I want Chris to give his opinion, whatever it may be, but I'm definitely more concerned with the dragon here than the curse. Just because that's my jam. I'm a cryptozoologist at heart.
Okay.
Chris, this is your show. What do you got, buddy?
I don't know. I mean, it is. I mean, the whole thing is, it's a story. It's completely a story. The thing is, it's cobbled in a way to where that first thing could have been something. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they have water snakes over there or not. And if they do, how big they get. It could be. I know some reptiles have multiple holes, like where their face is.
Yeah, like
some snakes do.
Weird thing, like you're right. There's like things that sense heat or whatever, like pit vipers have. So I know what you're talking about. So I don't think there's any pit vipers in England. I can't be sure because I'm not a herpetologist.
I have no idea,
and we're all idiots.
I don't even know. Right, I don't even know what kind of snakes those actually are that have those. So I know
Ireland has no snakes. Thank you, St. Patrick, or nature.
Or nature.
Or climate.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, so you guys are absolutely right. There's no doubt about it. This is a story probably built up and reinforced by the church and the patriarchy to establish really set things. Like the young crusader hero who tries to make amends for, fucking up when he was young, goes to fight, those terrible infidels and, basically invades their sovereign land and fucks it up and tries to take it over and steal their artifacts, whatever. that it was a different time. They did their fucking thing. And he becomes the hero and he comes back, but he still has other debts to pay. He's not paid enough. He gets to be victorious, but he only gets to be victorious. And this is where maybe it's less of a Christian influence, only after he gets the advice of a pagan, which I find to be an interesting twist that kind of makes it stray a little bit maybe from being a straight Christian parable, but it is a morality play. There's no doubt about
they
it.
fucking, but
not
dude,
really
they
like
hit,
this.
They hit the witch, man. They
in
got
the
her.
Crusades. The Crusades was like, we're going to go here and you're going to love Jesus or you're going to die. Right. So it makes perfect sense to me, actually.
Except I just mean that usually the Christian fathers would expunge the part where the witch was key. It would be like he would go to his local parish priest and the parish priest would say, my lad, get the spikes on your armor, do your thing. I'm not even going to try to do a probe and fucking, and then he would do it. But instead it is an actual witch that he approaches, which I find interesting. But
now he pays the price.
But is he paying for working with the witch?
Nine generations of a curse.
That's why I think the curse is from the witch. That makes more sense to me.
Oh, that's interesting. So that gets deep. So it could be multiple levels. You get punished with an evil monster because you didn't go to church. You try to fucking make amends by fighting in the Crusades. You come back, you win that battle, but because you went to a witch for advice and you did it again, wouldn't kill your dad, you got 9 generation curse. That's layers and layers of parable. That's almost too much more. I feel crushed under the sheer weight of Papa Church.
No, because that's how they get you. They're like, you see, the curse actually came from the witch because you went to the occult.
This is completely in line with a story from that time of getting bashed over the head with Christianity. 100% to me.
And you're right. But here's my thought. Maybe just because of what we are and what I am in terms of fucking, we all love monsters. We all are way into the shit. I mean, when we did the modern dragon sightings, and definitely I want to pick Richard Freeman's brain on this and other things. I think we might even briefly talked about it in the interview. I'm not sure. But if there's a possibility that things that resemble medieval dragons can suddenly show up in Milwaukee or wherever the fuck they have been, Japan and other places, China, then maybe there was a period of Earth's history where they were much more, credulous and much more open to anything because science had no foothold. 1390 again. And so that maybe I'm loath to say the thin veil again, but something where these creatures I know it makes you cringe, but just like, we talk about these window areas like John Keel mentioned where things can kind of emerge. If these things could come through, because obviously they are not biologically endemic to the United States, the United Kingdom at all. Nothing like this. Not a giant salamander, not a giant snake, nothing. So it would have to be a thing that would either be considered A, paranormal, or B, interdimensional in the sense that it came through and wreaked havoc. And then, so I guess my thought is this, maybe this is a real cryptid from fuck all knows where, not necessarily indigenous to Earth, but from somewhere else that, created, wreaked havoc on this area for, the better part of a decade. And that got wrapped into a Christian parable after the fact.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, they would. I mean, I could see that happening. I mean,
anyone will take history and put it into the light that best suits them. Anyone who's in charge. We know that. That goes without saying. So I'm not saying I think that's 100% the case. I'm just saying, what if this is something that happened? And then the patina they put on it is one of, you better go to church, you follow the rules, this and that, don't talk to witches. But in reality, it's still a fucking weird interdimensional fucking monster that came through and fucking had to be dealt with. And the really smart lady that lived in the woods is like, well, if this thing's going to coil around you and fuck you up, because there's a legacy of like 28 different knights that tried to fucking vanquish it. All of them died. And so there's got to be like reports on what the creature did to kill these knights. And if she happens to know, it's like a constrictor. It wraps around them. It tries to bite them. If your body's covered in spikes, it could just be this brilliant woman in the woods. It's like, all right, here's what you do. She's not really a witch. She's just like, now I'm not thinking cinematically. I'm trying to think like what it could have really been. She's like super good with herbs. She's doing her thing. She's like, no, don't be a fucking moron. Put spikes all over. Let it kill itself as it's trying to crush you. And then when it's weak enough, strike the deadly blow. And he could die, apparently, because he was finally able to kill it, despite the fact that it apparently had these regenerative properties that were off the fucking charts. Enough spikes did it in. So I don't know. I guess the thing I'm thinking is that I like the idea that weird things that do not belong geographically, fauna that should never exist in a place, in this case, in England, fucking in, where the hell is it? County Durham. If they do exist and it happened to be real, where could it have come from? Why is it there? And so it gets incorporated into Christian mythology and other elements. That's fine. But what could have caused the mayhem to begin with? And is there a kernel of truth?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if something did happen to pop up and they just kind of wrapped it into some weird fucking, Christian story, and I can definitely see that. I can totally see that.
Mark, I am giving you an interdimensional magic worm.
I mean, I want to take it. Don't get me wrong. I was almost going to say tulpa. I was like, is things a fucking tulpa?
Okay, clearly. So somebody wished it into existence? So the old man
maybe everyone
was
did.
Such a dedicated churchgoer that when he saw this kid having fun and he caught this weird salamander, he's like, don't you dare throw that back.
Think about the times, dude. The fucking 1300s, everything's shit. Everyone's in a fucking terrible mood. No one's happy. Sanitation sucks. Everyone's just like, everything blows. And then they develop this weird fucking gross fucking animal from their collective psyche of shit. And then the thing just fucking unleashes on them where like your worst nightmares fucking devour you. It's actually like a psychological thing, probably.
Dude, psychological
manifestation of darkness.
I love where you're going with that. I love like the untapped
Chris feels me.
The untapped power of the human mind is something I'm fascinated by. But here's the thing. When I was 12, I was legitimately terrified of Freddy Krueger. I understood he was fictional, but I also understood this, even though I didn't know the story, which is something we eventually did, and I think put on a Patreon. I knew that it was based on real events, quote unquote, but I didn't know exactly what they were back then because it was 1984 or whatever. And and so I felt that way, and I knew other kids that were younger and could not even distinguish between fiction and fantasy. And so if all of us thought this and felt this way, how does this not manifest? I mean, why were there not 16 Freddy Kruegers going haywire? Not that I don't believe in tulpas categorically.
I mean, and
not that I don't think that there isn't vast potential in the human mind to create reality, because I absolutely do. But I just think to myself, I'm a little leery of the whole tulpa thing, because I'm like, that's just one of many examples. Almost every vile thing that has ever been concocted would be manifest somewhere if it was something that was truly and genuinely a part of our universe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I don't understand the science behind tulpas, so
nobody does, because there isn't one.
Yeah, it's not really science.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we can talk to fucking Slenderman and fucking figure that thing out.
We will definitely do a deep dive into tulpas at some point, because it deserves it every bit as much as extraterrestrial.
So, okay,
ultra-terrestrials.
let's just fucking go out there on a fucking limb and just, like I was saying, this is just some fucking collective consciousness manifestation of fucking dark evil shit because of the times that people live in. Fine, regardless, this thing apparently was physical. It was a physical being. It wasn't like it was just some fucking weird fucking phantasmagorical manifestation. It was fucking there.
Yeah, it didn't turn into a black mist. It didn't.
It was there enough where they were fucking dude. They had a fucking milk bar for this thing.
It's true.
So I mean, something was there.
Bar.
Unfortunately, though, man, and I don't want to fucking piss on your paranormal parade here, but I think I'm going to have to. I think maybe it's just some weird fucking parable, unfortunately. I want it to be something bigger.
So you're calling this a lie?
Better.
A dead-up lie?
I want it to be deadly. I want it to be deadly.
You're not even going to entertain the notion it's a cryptid? I mean, you don't have to go full-on interdimensional or paranormal.
No, actually, your idea of it being a cryptid, then people saw this and were like, oh, God, put Jesus in there somewhere so we can fucking understand it.
Well, look at St. Columba and fucking Ness. Yeah. I mean, Loch Ness was a genuine phenomenon, regardless of what it was or what it wasn't, and whether or not it's dead now, which might be the tragic fact. The whole, when St. Columba comes and it's like, bitch, don't touch my man, he's getting a boat. And the thing swam away in terror, and fucking St. Columba was the shit and all that. That's clearly Christianity co-opting a cryptid encounter.
Or conversely, what if the Loch Ness Monster was actually conjured by none other than Mr. Aleister Crowley?
Well, how could he have done it if fucking St. Columba was there centuries before, banishing it with the word of the Lord?
Dude, it's fucking Aleister Crowley.
You always want to give Crowley credit for everything.
Fuck yeah, I do. Do time travel, man. Whatever. Fucking Barry Allen. Think about it.
He's got Lamb.
Fucking think about it.
He's arguably the best paranormal power bottom in history, and I'll give him Parsons, but I can't give him anything more than that. Really bad taste in hats.
You gotta give him.
I'll give him a little
Those
Black
hats are
Sabbath.
fucking cool. How dare you? Those hats are
those
fucking
hats are
awesome.
dumb as shit.
And it wasn't Black Sabbath. It was Ozzy Osbourne that wrote that song. That hat is a pyramid hat is fucking dope. How dare you?
Wait, that wasn't on a Sabbath album? The tribute to fucking Aleister Crowley?
Mr. Crowley?
Oh, no, that was that the Randy Rhoads one? All right, thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Nevertheless, I will give Aleister Crowley credit for influencing Ozzy, which is phenomenal. Like I say, being a magnificent power bottom, for conjuring a lamb, for calling L. Ron Hubbard a douchebag, and for influencing the
You're giving this guy
NASA through Parsons. And those are things I will give him. What I will not give, he was not the ultimate evil. He was not the I don't know. I don't find him to be as fascinating as some people do.
The ultimate
he was not my great
evil.
# not my great beast.
All right, fine. We all have different feelings about Mr. fucking Crowley.
But I respect what he did do. That having been said, I do not think he conjured Nessie. Aleister Crowley did not conjure Nessie.
I appreciate your take on this being a cryptozoology, being an entity of cryptozoology.
Think of the aquatic shit that are in the British Isles.
I'm all about
throughout the Highlands, the Kelpie, the Each Usage, the Dovarku, on and on. There's literally every body of water, every creek, pond, stream, and lake
about it, dude.
Has a cryptid.
I just kind of think that maybe this just might be one of those fucking tales, man. I think it just might be a tale.
And I don't know
want
who
it
you
to
are.
be. I want it.
Wait, Mark. Is the moon real? Is the moon real?
Don't you ever fucking question me about the moon, goddamn.
So I'm wondering if this is the man I've known and loved for decades. Is this you? Because I can't see your face. So I mean, I think we're dealing with a doppelstores here.
Wow.
I think it's a lie predicated on fiction with ignorance. It's the 1390s.
Look, man, I'm just saying that we all
told the story.
Listen. We all manifest our own reality, okay?
Well,
that's where I'm at.
There you go. Now that's more like it. That's more like it.
Yes.
Mark's come back home. Yeah.
I'm back home. Thank you. All
that's
right.
more like it.
Gentlemen, so Robert, you are on the cryptozoology tip.
I'm often on the cryptozoology tip.
I'm kind of thinking... Okay, continue.
No, I'll just say it quick. I'd like to think it's a cryptid whose proportions were exaggerated, whose exploits were way overplayed, whose existence was eventually twisted into something that the patriarchal church could use to their own ends, but that was, at least at its core, a legitimate, perhaps unidentified form of amphibian that was highly predatory, kind of like a Dovarku or something, just something which is probably an otter, but something more amphibious and dangerous. So I'm thinking cryptid, completely embellished and overplayed and transformed historically into a morality play, when at its core there might be a legitimate sighting of something anomalous. And as much as I entertain the idea of like the dragons coming through, and I really am entertained by that, I think this is something anomalous yet biological.
All right, so I kind of wanted to go with the whole it's a parable, but now that I'm like 5 beers in and it's only like an hour and 10, I mean, maybe Tulpa.
Oh, God damn it.
A collective consciousness of fucking 1300s misery culminated in a fucking physical manifestation of some fucking crazy bullshit that was fucking eating people and fucking sucking milk and fucking eating kids and doing all kinds of evil fucking shit. So that's what alcoholism will do to you. Christopher, what do you think it is?
But before Chris goes on, this is the Candyman theory. This is the Cabrini Green. The collective subconsciousness coming together to make manifest something that is the equivalent of Bloody Mary, and making it real when it wasn't real. I mean, that was the beauty of Clive Barker. And
you guys were wondering where I was. You wanted to know where was Mark.
You just Candyman the fuck out of this thing.
I'm here. I'm
glad you're home, buddy. I missed you.
All right, Christopher.
Perfect.
What do you think?
Yeah, no. I just think no for all this, pretty much.
All right, fine.
I mean,
cool.
maybe he could have found something that he couldn't identify. Sure, but after that,
do you think there's any chance that some predatorial, perhaps amphibious, perhaps reptilian thing was attacking livestock, even if the stories were blown way out of proportion?
I mean, I guess partially that could be possible too. This is a tough one.
Just asking you to entertain the possibility, not asking you to believe. Just could it have been?
It could have been. It could have been. I guess that's all I'll give it. Really.
That's all I want. Hey, all I need is just a tiny smidge of an open mind. That's all I've ever asked of any of my dear friends.
Yeah, I just want to see fucking Meatloaf do a whole record about this
thing. Oh, the Lambton Worm double Meatloaf album? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Not only do I want to see
here.
I want to see John Boorman direct it like exactly as he would have in the early 80s, and I want to hear Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell 2, but instead of that, it's Lambton fucking Worm straight out of the well. Fucking 1 and 2.
Oh, do we have to do this t-shirt now?
Oh boy. All right.
Lambton Worm. Oh man. Now I have to fucking go listen to fucking Meatloaf. God damn it.
It happens.
Okay.
We all have our crosses to bear, my friend.
We do, and I do love Meatloaf. So there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us for the Kryptonaut podcast. Do hellerspace.com. Check it out. Get some merch. We have the Meals on Wheels charity going with 2 t-shirts there. It is the Hell or Space Kiss ripoff that we did that we're waiting to get sued by Gene Simmons.
Loving homage. Yet. Thank you. Ripoff.
Loving homage. Whatever. It's me, you, and Chris and fucking Kiss makeup, and no one has asked yet where the 4th fucking Kiss member is because what, there isn't one. It's just us.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you know what? Exactly.
Peter Criss is just too colorful.
Yeah, exactly. Also to the Heller Space Plan 9 from Heller Space t-shirt as well. So check those out. Thank you to everyone who's purchased one. It's awesome. It's so cool that we can actually get back to our local community. It does mean a lot to us. And I, recently got someone in my life signed up for Meals on Wheels, so that's fucking super cool. I'm super excited about that.
It's great.
It is directly really back.
It's helping people that really need it, and I think it's awesome. Totally. And so you guys are doing a super solid. You're helping folks, granted in our county, but they're fellow human beings, and you're doing a good job. And hopefully you enjoy the shirt you're rocking as a result. So it's a win-win.
Totally.
Hopefully.
And also, too, with all that merch that everyone gets from hellerspace.com, post that shit up on the Instas, the Twitters, the Facebooks, whatever. Tag us. There was just a couple of random people. I just was like looking through tags and found some random folks wearing our shit, which is fucking awesome. We love seeing that.
Oh my God, what a joy it brings. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's super cool. It is super cool. Also, to patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out. $5 is a shout out and some bonus audio. Thank y'all to everyone that contributes over there. We appreciate it so very much. And again, also thank you to all of our listeners. It means a lot to us that you guys listen. It really does. We wouldn't have a show without you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's something I look forward to every week. So besides hanging out with 2 of my best buds, fucking just talking shit and doing the things we do, I love that, and we've been doing it anyway. But the fact that people actually enjoy it and are a part of it and are like a community with us and friends of ours, even if it's not like with proximity, and I'm not even making a quarantine joke, just because of the nature of the beast. Thank you so much. You have no idea. Like, it really feels like a family, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And who would have thought that we would have come to this point? It really is cool.
It's really one of the most amazing things I've ever been involved with. I could not be happier.
No, same here. I mean, this is literally, we were all in bands for years and doing movies and doing whatnot, and then we're like, shit, we've just been doing this the entire time, I guess.
Right.
So
I mean, except no radio station was going to hire us. We had to wait for fucking the internet to allow.
Yeah, all right, fine.
It's a medium that just didn't exist,
Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway, I'm happy to be here with you two guys.
Even when I was on Coast to Coast years ago, and I fucking totally was a stuttering fool because I was a fanboy who got to live out his dream. I was like, yeah, no, this is way too professional. Thank God podcasts came into existence, and thank God, Mark, you decided to start one. and invite fucking Chris and I on board, because it was just like,
yeah. Hey, you know, I needed my 2 besties there. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to you, Rob and Chris. Thank you so very much for joining me every week and helping me deal with this bullshit that I fucking deal with all the time. So
big love, one love.
So, you know what, too? Before we close out here, Facebook, our Facebook group, check it out. Holy shit, it is fucking dope. And thank you to everyone over there that contributes. We obviously appreciate it. It's fucking awesome. Check that out.
It's what a great community. I fucking love it. Like, totally. It's literally all I do on Facebook. I barely even check my own shit anymore, but I go right to that, and I'm like, yep, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, real quick shit before we end. Check out Astonishing Legends. They recently did the Kira. They're calling it the Kira Object, not the Kira UFO. But check out the Astonishing Legends Kira Object episodes. I just listened to part 1. Part 2 is coming out soon, and it's fucking awesome. All Rob's research got cited in that, which is fucking super dope.
You know what's so awesome?
It's cool.
Is Scott got a hold of me beforehand? It's like, is it okay if we cite your shit? And I'm like, dude, first off, that's so
fucking
cool.
Totally, dude.
So professional, so awesome. I'm like, of course it is. I'd be honored and flattered, you know, and these guys are so awesome, and their takes are so brilliant. And so I was honored to be a research fellow, if you will, on that shit.
No, it's awesome. And obviously, I'm sure most of our listeners listen to Astonishing Legends, but fucking totally check them out.
Oh,
it's awesome.
Great shit. Great guys.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a great show, so check them out.
And I will say this on an ancillary note. Another one of our listeners got a hold of me last night and said that he and a group of friends had designed a pretty rigorous rule set for a drinking game that he would share with me, but he has not shared with me yet. So I'm anticipating this will be awesome, and I do not want anyone to die of alcohol poisoning, but I'm sure everyone has their own version of drinking with us, like, you know, how many drinks is enigmatic worth or whatever. But once those rules are laid out, I will share them, because I mean, shit, why not make it a party that's universal?
Yeah, fucking A. Awesome. Thank you all so very much. As always, stay safe. We're gonna get through this shit. I'm talking to you soon.
Totes. Keep your Tulsas. Jesus Christ.
Tulsas.
All right, so I'm drinking a lot of
Oklahoma.
Keep your tulpas straight. Like, let's start creating tulpas that are like, you know, fucking. We don't want to go full Dan Aykroyd and just make them like malevolent marshmallow men, but like maybe like dobies or something, like just fuckers that'll get your back. If they wear a sock, they can roam free. Fuckers that'll help you with the dishes. I mean, if we're going to make nefarious shit, it can look horrible and act like fucking really it's aggressive, but in reality, let it be super sweet. Let's start collectively making our tulpas a lot more manageable and a little more helpful.
Let's get that collective consciousness on the fucking positive note, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Say it.
This bourbon's really hitting the spot.
I can tell. That bourbon fucked you.
I put a good dent in this bottle, but God bless it.
You did. Well, you know, I'm officially
patrons.
I think this might be beer number 6. I don't know. I'm going to bed. Peace.
Good night, fuckers.